I'm talking with Amanda Hiebert, who's a poet and an actor, and just cruised into Durham with the Toronto Slam team. And you're carrying some kind of animal on your chain.
Yeah,
And I was wondering how you got into the poetry business. What attracted you to it?
I don't know about the business of poetry because there's no money in it. But I moved to Toronto about 5.5 years ago, and sort of Googled spoken word in Toronto and hooked up with this entire scene that at the time was, sort of 7 people sitting in a room.
So where did you come from?
I moved from Vancouver, actually. It was also very funny. I was chasing sort of the slam scene of Canada, and somebody in New York told me that it was Toronto. I had to move to Toronto for the slam scene. So I moved from Vancouver to Toronto only to find out that Vancouver actually had a very strong, very flourishing community that had been going for around 10 years. And when I moved here, it was just being born. So it was kind of a funny move on my part. But
what was it that attracted you to that kind of work, to slam?
Well, I took a bit of a hiatus from acting and went to New York on a trip, and was broke. So I was eating up all the 50% off coupons I could find for Broadway shows, and one night the only thing I could get was this Def Jam Poetry Slam, this Russell Simmons thing. And so I went to that, and I was completely blown away that I could work as a performer and be in control of it. As an actor, you're constantly begging people to hire you. But as a poet, all you need is a pen and a loud mouth. So that's sort of how that happened.
So when you're working on poems, do you have the performance in mind, or are you writing something down first? How do they grow?
I write, they're almost separate for me. If there's a slam coming up, I'll sort of force myself to write a performance piece. I have a lot of work that just doesn't lend itself to voice. So they are definitely, for me, written separately. But there's a lot of people within the spoken word community that, can write and perform this beautiful work that looks just as amazing on the page. And I find when a lot of my performance stuff goes to the page, there's a lot of ands and buts and, stuff that just it looks messy. It doesn't really belong.
So what's the connection between acting in slam and writing in slam? Are those just as strong in a performance, or?
Yeah, for me, yes. Yeah, for me they're equally important, but everybody's performance style is different. I don't think that everyone sort of takes on the idea of acting or creating a character. Performance, I would say, is equally important. You could go up and have written Shakespeare, but if you don't know how to get it to the audience, they're not going to give a damn. And vice versa, there's times when all of us have gone to a slam and someone's gone up and performed the heck out of something, and the writing's just awful, and they're rewarded for it. So performance is definitely in slam just as important, if almost not more so than the writing. But I won't say it's acting based all the time.
Well, so you're traveling with 4 other poets, I guess, a
Yeah.
lot of the time. Are you influenced by how they do stuff and the way they approach? Or?
I think so. You start catching yourself in other people's nuances, our cadence, I suppose. We're all very moved by each other's work, and we're all also very sick of each other's work. So it's kind of to the point now when we watch each other perform and stuff.
Do you force each other to write new stuff just so you don't have to hear the same piece again?
Yeah, well, I think we're all pretty hungry. I think we all write a lot, but it's sort of, we could, as a team, we've watched each other for so long that I would say with confidence, we could all write a line of poetry and put it in a hat and pull it out and know who wrote it. It's just we sort of have learned each other's styles and themes and writing and stuff. you know, I mean, Mike Smith pretty much just hates everything. So if you pull something negative out of the hat, you know, it's pretty easy. So yeah, that's that.
Okay, thanks very much.
Oh,
Nice
thank you
talking
very
with
much.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.